Hi Callie, hi Gwendolyn, my sweet lady loves. For this week's video, I wanted to give you guys a list of 5 things that have been making me grumpy lately and 5 things that have been making me happy lately. We're gonna start with the grumpy grams first. Number 1. So I have a favorite pub to write in and it's really close to my house. You walk out my front door, turn right, and just keep walking and then you run into it. Callie was actually the one that took me there for the first time. We went with Ryan, and she describes it as Tolkienian. Basically, it looks like a place that a hobbit would hang out, and since I fancy myself a hobbit, a gnome, a fairy, any of the above, I like to be there. It also sort of looks like the lower level of a ship. It's just covered in wood. And what I like about it, besides the fact that it's beautiful, is that it's mellow. There aren't a bunch of drunk people that are like laughing and yelling and singing and being crazy. It's just kind of like a bunch of like older people that are just hanging out talking. And then there's me with my laptop writing. But what has been making me grumpy lately is that their Wi-Fi connection has been getting better. And that might seem like a good thing, but to me it was just so beautiful to go to a pub, have really crappy Wi-Fi, and not have that temptation to check my Facebook or my Twitter or YouTube or my email, but I could just sit there and write about mermaids. Number 2, as I was writing at this pub the other day, I was eating Dove chocolate wrappers from my purse and was collecting a slight pile on my table. And the bartender, saw these wrappers, and when he came round to ask how I was doing, proceeded to crumple them up and throw them away. Dove chocolate wrappers are sacred words of advice, and I had hit the jackpot that night. They said things like, sleep under the stars, watch the sunrise, make a date with your favorite book tonight. And I had intended on doing all of those things, but then they were taken from me. Number 3. It's been so sunny lately. It's like, come on, Seattle, I want gloom and rain and coldness and cloudiness and dreariness. This is literally why I love living here. I can always count on a place that's gonna have clouds that are just as grumpy as I am. But yet here it is, it's February, it's bright and sunny, and it's just like, I look out the window and think, what is this sorcery? Feels like spring and I hate it. Spring is the worst season ever and there's no debating this. Number 4, job hunting. I'm either way too underqualified or way too overqualified. That was a joke. I'm literally never too overqualified. But it's like, who has 5 to 10 years of managing experience for an entry-level position that pays $11 an hour? It's ridiculous. Number 5, I don't have a bunny. This is a pretty big one. I want a bunny so badly. I want to name her Maple, or Compass Rose, or Katniss Everdeen, or Jane Austen, or Melusina, my favorite mythological mermaid, which I will make a video about someday. I want to snuggle with a bunny and dress it up and post hilarious pictures on Instagram, but I can't. Life's just not fair. You don't always get a bunny when you want one. The other day I remarked to Alex, you know, I'm a very grumpy person, and he very quickly quipped, I think it's probably because you're a mermaid that's pissed about being landlocked. And I was just like, bum 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 bum. That's the man I'm marrying. All right, now a list of 5 things that have been making me happy lately. Number 1, we again did the Valentine's booth with the Poetry Brigade, where we sat on campus and wrote Valentine's poems for people. It's just really sweet to hear about people's first date with their Valentine, how they met them, their people's quirks and their habits. Of course, it made me miss last year when Gwendolyn dressed up as Basil Hodgins, her romantic era time-traveling poet. I mean, you can't beat that. You can't beat someone, you know, writing in character. Number 2, we had a great Galentine's Day inspired by Parks and Rec. There were waffles, frittatas, mimosas, cinnamon rolls, sausages, all the bacon and eggs we had. We watched the Galentine's Day episode of Parks and Rec, and then, you know, we talked about classic girly things like ontological reasoning, chirality science, astigmatisms, and forming a feminist gals being pals book club. Number 3, I booked our honeymoon. Alex and I are going to Chile. We're going to stay at this lodge called Magica Montana. and it basically looks like a mountain that hobbits would live in. Just so exciting. Number 4. The Breakfast Club is being re-released to theaters, and this is very important to me. I love The Breakfast Club. It is, if not tied with The Princess Bride as my favorite movie, it's at least in the top 5. Number 5. I memorized a Keats poem, and I felt like you, Gwendolyn, because I know that you memorized La Belle Dame Sans Mercy. I can't remember what it's called. So I memorized it to recite it in Richard Kenny's class today, and it went pretty well. After I was done reciting it, I slapped my hands down on the table and was like, woo! Which was not cool. Obviously, I'm gonna recite it for you guys. So this is Ode to Autumn by John Keats. Season of mists and mellow fruitfulness, close bosom friend of the maturing sun, conspiring with him how to load and bless with fruit the vines that round the thatch eaves run, to bend with apples the mossed cottage trees, and fill all fruit with ripeness to the core, to swell the gourd and plump the hazel shells with a sweet kernel to set budding more, and still more, later flowers for the bees, until they think warm days will never cease, for summer has overbrimmed their clammy cells. Who hath not seen thee oft amid thy store? Sometimes whoever seeks abroad may find thee sitting careless on a granary floor, thy hair soft lifted by the winnowing wind, or on a half-reaped furrow, sound asleep, drowsed with the fume of poppies, while thy hook spares the next swath and all its twined flowers. Sometimes, like a gleaner, thou dost keep steady thy laden head across a brook, or by a cider press with patient look, thou watchest the last oozings hours by hours. Where are the songs of spring? Ay, where are they? Think not of them, thou hast thy music too. While barred clouds bloom the soft dying day, and touch the stubble plains with rosy hue. Then in a wailful choir the small gnats mourn, or sinking as the light wind lives or dies, the full-grown lamb's loud bleat from hilly bourne. Hedge crickets sing, now in treble soft, the redbreast whistles from a garden croft, and gathering swallows twitter in the skies. Nailed it. So those are a couple moments that have made me grumpy, a couple moments that have made me happy. Life's pretty good right now. I only have class 2 days a week, which I really appreciate because I do have a lot on my plate right now. Job hunting, wedding planning, last quarter, AU. But it makes it more manageable to only have class twice a week, which is really nice. I'm just trying to enjoy the last few moments of college, which is a really weird thing to say. But yeah, have a great week, ladies, and keep writing and keep drinking tea and reading good books, and keep hugging as many people as you can, because hugs are good and hugs make us happy. And I'll see you next week, Callie.